Labrador City Town Council wants to help business owners make their stores, offices, and buildings more accessible. The town is offering a grant to help cover the costs of upgrades like wheelchair ramps or automatic doors. But so far, there's only been one application. Wayne Button is the mayor of Labrador City, and that's where we reached him. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Bailey. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks. Tell me a little bit about where the idea for this grant came from.
Generally what happens is, for me, around budget time, I approach all my councillors and ask them to come up with a list of proposed ideas that they want to be put in the budget. And this was actually brought forward by a councillor because we have a similar grant process for businesses right now. And he wanted to see something to implement applications that have to do with allowing businesses to make renovations for making our businesses more accessible. And I thought it was a great initiative by the councillor, and we put it forward on the table, and it was motioned in. And now we're starting the process of trying to get people to apply.
So what kinds of things would this cover?
It doesn't cover contractors' costs, but it does cover materials and stuff like that. So basically, if you wanted to build a ramp for your business, or maybe you wanted to hook up one of those push buttons to allow people to come in, I believe it possibly could even cover concrete work. If you wanted your sidewalk to be like a wheelchair accessible sidewalk, it would cover all those things. I mean, it is at the discretion of the council once the planner brings it back, but there hasn't been too much in the past that we've rejected, so almost anything.
So you pay for your own contractor, but all of the building materials, the supplies, the physical push buttons, for instance, or the concrete itself, you would cover?
We cover 50%.
Okay.
Upwards to a max of $10,000. So if your project were to cost $8,000 in materials, we would cover $4,000.
Right.
If it be $20,000, we would cover $10,000 for material.
Why was this something important to your council? Why do you want to do this?
Well, because until recently, the province just recently, I think about a month ago, correct me if I'm wrong, they put in new bylaws and stuff where new buildings now have to be accessible. Until then, there was nothing in place provincially. So we had, I think, a count of over 20 buildings in town that weren't deemed completely accessible. Now, the problem is some of those business owners, it's a big cost. Like some people say that, Washington should be wheelchair accessible. Well, yes, but this person, it kind of got grandfathered in when the person bought the restaurant. So they would have to tear down these walls, and they would have to do this, and it might cost them $40,000, $50,000. And we can't pay for that, and we can't force them. There's no bylaw saying that we can force them. But what we can do is we can give them a little bit of a financial help or a little bit of a push where if anybody has been thinking a long time about making their building more accessible, they can now do it at a possible reduction of 50%. So that's where the idea kind of came from.
And what's your pitch to business owners as to why they ought to look at this?
Well, really simple. I would say to them, why not? I mean, I own a business, and I'm in a mall, so everything I did when I opened my business was wheelchair accessible and stuff anyway. So my doors are wide enough, all that stuff. So I passed all those codes. But if I were to think for the last couple of years, geez, I've been thinking about putting a ramp for $10,000, a lot of money, I got to get somebody. I mean, why wouldn't you take this opportunity to have 50% of it covered? And then, you get that photo op too, where you get to be a pioneer for the community and say, look, not only do I sell such and such, but I took on this grant with the town, and look, I made my business more accessible. I mean, it just makes sense to me.
You said you counted 20 businesses or places of business where they weren't wheelchair accessible?
I think it actually might be over that. That was actually a resident brought that to my attention when I was knocking on doors during the election. I think she had a son that was in a wheelchair, and she brought that to my attention. I remember thinking, wow, that's a lot. Now, we're an older, our town's buildings are a lot older, so, some of that stuff has been kind of grandfathered in, but what we should do is slowly, through attrition and with these grants, we should be making everything wheelchair accessible with due time.
So, yeah, when you put it like that, it sounds like a lot of the town is off limit to anybody who uses a wheelchair or other mobility devices.
Well, it's getting a lot better, but the problem is the town is 60 years old, and being a mining town, it's not like, Halifax where things came in slowly, more buildings were gone and more buildings came in. We kind of have a town where everybody moved here and built everything within 5 years.
Right.
So back in the late 50s and early 60s, there was no guidelines, so people didn't have that on their radar. So yes, a lot of our buildings being older, almost hitting 50 years old, don't have a lot of accessibility applications.
So you've only had one application so far?
That's right. Yeah, it was really disappointing. I think what could have happened is, well, two things. Anytime you come up with anything on a municipal level, it is hard to promote. I mean, we put it on Facebook and stuff like that, and I brought it to the attention of Chamber of Commerce. But I think maybe the strike had an effect, because maybe anybody planning to do renovations for their building, if they had a drop-off of revenue, they might have said, well, I was going to take advantage of that, but now I can't because of the strike. So that's why I'm bringing it back to the table. I'm doing a little bit of a media circuit to try to do more promotion to get more people to take advantage of it.
And what's your budget for this? How much work could you possibly help to do?
I think we can do, I'm trying to think, Bailey, I think we allotted $50,000. So with that said, if every project was a max of $10,000, which I don't think it will be, we could probably do upwards of 5 to 6 projects. Now, with that said, there are things within the council's discretion. So if it were going to get close to going over, we would probably take something else out of the budget and allow this to happen. So, we can have a nice fair bit of projects, and 5 or 6 projects in the summer here in Lab City. That's a lot, actually.
All right, Mayor Button, I appreciate your time.
Anytime. Thank you so much, Bailey.
That is Mayor Wayne Button in Labrador City.